Hello students, today I am going to start the next chapter of integral calculus, which is definite integral. This chapter having two parts. One is fundamental theorem of integral calculus and another is properties of definite integrals. In this video, I am going to discuss about fundamental theorem of integral calculus. But before going to fundamental theorem of integral calculus, let me discuss the meaning that what is definite integral and what is the difference between definite integral and indefinite integral. Definite integration is denoted by integration of function fx. This function fx is continuous in the interval, closed interval AB, okay, and this is written as integration of fx from limit a to b. Here a is known as lower limit and b is known as upper limit. Now, how to write this after integration? As we know that if integration of a function fx is capital Fx plus c, we can write this as, okay. So after calculating integration of the given function, we need to apply limits. So how to apply limits? These are the limit a and b. So how to apply the limits? So it is integration of a to b fx dx is equal to, as I told you, first of all we will calculate integration of this function fx, okay. So as I write here that if integration of function small fx is capital Fx, then this can be written as fx plus c. From here we are taking, and limit will be written over here outside the bracket sign, either to the left side or to the right hand side. We can write this limit anywhere. Now to apply the limit, we will use upper limit first and then minus lower limit for this function which we are getting after integration. So let us replace this x with b first, that is the upper limit. So we are getting fb plus c, because c is a constant, so no change over here on c, minus applying lower limit, that is replacing x with a. So we are getting fa plus c. Now on simplifying, we are getting fb minus fa. So this is how to find out and denote the definite integration. You should observe one thing over here, that there is no constant term in definite integration, as this is clear from the steps that c will get cancelled and we are left only with fb minus fa. So when we are finding out definite integration, we will not write any of the constant term in addition. Now let us discuss fundamental theorem of integral calculus. This is the same as I just told you, just we are now discussing the statement of this theorem. It is, this theorem states that if fx is a continuous and single valued function of x in the open interval ab. So fx is a continuous function as well as single valued function in the open interval ab. This is first thing that the function should satisfy. Number two, what are a and b? A and b are finite and a is less than b. We should always have that lower limit is less than upper limit. As I told you in the earlier slide, that a is the lower limit. From here a is the lower limit, b is the upper limit. So lower limit should always be less than upper limit. As it is written over here, a and b are finite and a is less than b. Next is fx. Here I am taking small fx and here I am taking capital Fx. What is this capital Fx? Capital Fx is the indefinite integration of small fx. Then integration of small fx dx over the limit a to b is equal to fb minus fa, capital FB minus capital FA, and this I have explained how are we getting this in the previous slide. Now, after discussing that what is definite integration and what is fundamental theorem of integral calculus, now let us see how to use these in problems of definite integration. So let me take first problem from definite integration. So here is the first problem in front of you. The function is 2x plus 3, which is obviously continuous, and lower limit is 1, upper limit is 2. So as I told you, first of all we will calculate integration of the given function, which is 2x plus 3. So this is equal to, we know very well that integration of 2x is x square. You can write it as like this also, 2 already constant, and integration of x is x square upon 2, and integration of 3 is 3x. So let we close it in the bracket and let us write these limits over here, which is further can be written as x square plus 3x. Now same, let us write the limits. Okay, so as we know, this is capital Fx and having the limits a to b, and we know it is fb minus fa. First of all, we'll replace this x with upper limit minus this x will be replaced by lower limit. That is fb means upper limit minus fa means taking lower limit. So clearly it is 4 plus 6 minus 1 plus 3. So after solution you are getting 6. So 6 is the definite integration of the given function. The second example is 0 to pi by 2 limit over integration, and the function is sin square x upon 2 dx. I hope till now you understood that the first step is to find out the indefinite integration of the given function, and that you have already studied very well in the previous section, that is integration of indefinite integration. So you should know that how to find out the integration of this function. If you understood, it's very well. Otherwise, let me tell you, we know very well that cos 2x is equals to 1 minus 2 sin square x, and from here we are getting 2 sin square x is equals to 1 minus cos 2x. So using the same identity, here in place of x we are having x upon 2. So clearly this sin square x upon 2 is equal to 1 minus cos x upon 2 it is, isn't it? Using this one, using this identity. So let us do the change. So this change is integration of is equal to 0 to pi by 2 can be written as 1 upon 2 is constant term. Let us take it outside, and the function is 1 minus cos x dx. So now let us find out its integration. It's very simple now, which is equal to 1 upon 2 integration of 1 is x and integration of cos x is sin x. And let us write the limit. It is 0 to pi by 2. Now applying the limit, upper limit minus lower limit. So we are having 1 upon 2 into upper limit is pi by 2 minus sin pi by 2. This is upper limit minus lower limit, that is 0 minus sin 0. So after solution we are getting 1 upon 2 into pi upon 2 minus 1. Why? This is 0 and sine 0 is again 0. So n sine pi by 2 is 1. I have written over here. So this is the final answer for the given function, which is 0 to pi by 2 and function is sine square x upon 2. So here is the next problem in front of you, and if you observe it carefully, you find that this function can be integrated very easily by using substitution method. But as we are doing definite integration, so there are two methods to perform the solution of this question. So these two methods are, first of all, let me discuss the common part of this solution. The common part is the substitution. So as we know that let 30 minus x power 3 upon 2 st, let us substitute this thing. Now the differentiation of this is minus 3 upon 2 x power 1 upon 2 dx is equal to dt. So from here you are getting root x dx is equal to minus 2 upon 3 dt. Now from here we are having two parts. Number one method. First method is just find out integration without using the limits. So without using limits, we are having root x dx as dt into minus 2 upon 3. Constant, being constant, let us take it outside, and in the denominator we are left with t square. Why are we not taking limit over here? There is one reason. The reason is this limit 4 to 9 is meant because of x. Okay, but here we are using the variable t. So this 4 to 9 will not justify the variable t. That's why after calculating integration, we'll use finally the limits. So let us find out integration over here. So integration of this, you know very well, is minus 2 upon 3 into minus 1 upon t plus c. So this can be written as 2 upon 3t plus c. Now applying the same limit, first of all let us change this t into x again. So we are getting 2 upon 3 into 30 minus x power 3 upon 2 plus c. Now applying the limits. So if we apply the limit, we know that c will vanish and it will be written as equal to 2 upon 3 30 minus x power 3 upon 2, and limits are 4 to 9. Okay, now we'll use upper limit minus lower limit in place of x. So clearly it is 2 upon 3 is common part. Let us take it out, and using 9 we are getting 1 upon 30 minus 27, because if we are putting 9 over here, square root of 9 is 3 and its cube is 27. Similarly, if we put 4, we are getting 1 upon 30 minus 8. So after solution, we are getting 1 upon 3 minus 1 upon 22, and now we are left with 2 upon 3 into 19 upon 66, and the final answer is 19 upon 99. So this is the way to simplify by using first method. Now the second method is till this substitution there is no change. It is same till here. The change is here we have used the limits after calculating integration and changing again the variable into x. But we can do one thing more, that instead of writing again into x, we can continue the question. We can use the limits with t, but there we need to change the limit as according to t. So how to do? Let me explain it. As we have substituted, t is equal to 30 minus t power 3, 30 minus x power 3 upon 2. So when x is equals to 4, so what we are getting? Substituting this value of x over here, so we are getting t is equal to 22, and when x is equal to 9, the upper limit, we are getting t is equals to, putting 9 over here, so we are getting 3. Now we can directly write integration over the limit 22 to 3. Instead of 4, we are taking 22. Value of x when 4, we are getting 22, and in place of 9, the value of x, we are taking value of t as 3. And now the new function in terms of t is dt upon t square. So now we can write it as equal to, getting integration over here, this is minus 2 upon 3 outside. So we are getting minus 2 upon 3 into integration of this is minus 1 upon t, and limits are from 22 to 3. Now applying the limits directly, we are getting 2 upon 3 into 1 upon 3 minus 1 upon 22, and simplifying this thing, this we are getting again the same result, that is 19 upon 99. So you may use any method to simplify these questions in which we are using substitution method of integration. Here is one very important problem in front of you. This has been asked in examination, in board examination in 2018 as well as in 14 as well as in 17. So many times it has been asked in the examination, in board examination. So let us find out how to find the solution of this problem. Very first step is to put sin x minus cos x as t. Why? Why are we putting this as t? Why are we substituting this? This is because if we find out its derivative, it is cos x plus sin x dx is equal to dt, which is nothing but simply the numerator of the given function. So this numerator whole can be written as dt. Now let us look at the denominator. Denominator is 9 plus 16 sin 2x. If you remember, you have done this type of questions in indefinite integration also. So what we need to do, we need to change the denominator in such a way that it gives us some identity of indefinite integration. Okay, so but first of all, before changing this, let me change the limits. And limits is when x is equal to 0, clearly gives you t is equals to sin 0 is 0 and cos 0 is 1. So we are getting t as minus 1. And when x is equals to pi by 4, we know very well that sin pi by 4 as well as cos pi by 4 both are 1 by root 2. So gives us t as 0. Now to simplify the denominator, let us find the square root of this part 1, squaring both side in part 1. So squaring both side in 1. What we are getting? We are getting sin square x plus cos square x minus 2 sin x cos x is equal to t square. Now, you know very well that sin square x plus cos square x is 1 and sin 2 sin x cos x is sin 2x, which is equal to t square. So, here in the question, we are having sin 2x. Okay, so let us change this term as follows. So, we are having changing the limits first of all. So, before changing the limit, let us change the function in the required form. We are having this as sin x plus cos x upon 9 plus 16. Here we need minus sine 2x, and here we are having plus 16 sine 2x. So first of all, we need to make this sine 2x as negative. So let us change this sign positive into negative by writing it as sin x plus cos x upon 9 minus 16 minus sin 2x. So this requirement has fulfilled. Now adding 1 and subtracting 1. Why this is so? Because we need plus 1 over here with this. So these changes you need to think that how we can do the changes in the function so that we can find out integration of it, and these methods you have already studied in your previous chapter. So the limit is 0 to pi by 4. Now let us rewrite it as sin x plus cos x upon 9. We need only 1 minus sin 2x, because 1 minus sin 2x is t square. Other terms let us segregate. So it is minus 16 and minus 1 gives us plus 16. This 16 get multiplied with these two terms also, and we are getting minus 16 into 1 minus sin 2x. Further, this can be rewrite as equal to 0 to pi by 4 sin x plus cos x dx upon, in the denominator we are having 25 minus 16 into 1 minus sin 2x. Now the question function is ready with us, where we can substitute whatsoever we have done above. So changing the limits, we know when we put 0 we are getting minus 1 for t, and when we are putting pi by 4 as x, we are getting t as 0. So limits are minus 1 to 0. Sin x plus cos x dx, we find it as dt. This is 25 minus 16 t square. So we have done all the changes that we have found over here. T is equal to 0, t is equal to 1, minus 1 are the limits, and 1 minus sin 2x as t square, and sin x plus cos x dx is dt. So we have applied all the changes over here. Now you know very well what to do. This is simply the well-known identity of integration, which is, let me write it for you, dx upon a square minus x square is equal to 1 upon 2a log a plus x upon a minus x. So let us apply this over here. So we are getting, first of all, taking 16 as common, as I explained you that the coefficient of variable square should be 1. So let us change it into 1 first of all. So we are getting minus 1 to 0 and taking 16 as common. So it is dt upon 5 upon 4 whole square minus t square. Now the function is ready with us to apply this identity. So we are getting 1 upon 16 into 1 upon 2a, a is 5 upon 4, log a plus x, that is 5 upon 4 plus t, upon a minus x, that is 5 upon 4 minus t. And the limits are minus 1 to 0. So applying the limits, 1 upon 16 into, simplify this thing, we are getting 2 upon 5 log upper limit minus lower limit. So if we apply upper limit, that is 0, then this is 5 upon 4 upon 5 upon 4 minus lower limit is log, it is 5 upon 4 minus 1, that is we are getting 1 upon 4, and in the denominator 5 upon 4 plus 1, that is we are getting 9 upon 4. So simply we are getting it as equal to 1 upon 16 into 2 upon 5 log 1 minus log 1 upon 9. So further, we know very well that log 1 is 0. So we are left only with log 1 upon 9, and log m upon n can be written as log m minus n, means log 1 minus log 9. So simply it can be written as 2 8s are, that is 1 upon 40 into log 9. Okay, so this is the final answer of the given problem. I hope you understood all the questions very well, as the concepts of definite integration very well. And you have seen that this is nothing but simply the revision of indefinite integration. In first step, you need to find out the indefinite integration, and after that you need to apply upper limit minus lower limit. So by doing all these questions, you will also be skilled with the problems of indefinite integration. So solve more problems. Till then, keep learning and stay tuned.